JFE Shoji Canada is a Burlington-based company that is a supplier of steel components for electrical transformers, distributing their goods in Canada, the U.S., and Mexico. I spoke with CEO Ron Harper about how the current trade war may impact logistics, supply chains, and local manufacturing, both directly due to the tariffs and the ripple effects thereafter.
So our business has been in existence in Burlington for over 50 years. Our business is the largest supplier in North America of electrical steel components, primarily today for electrical transformers, be that residential transformers or large power substation type of equipment. We bring in large coils from primarily USA, Japan, and Europe, and process them into electrical components or steel components for electrical transformers, and then most of those get supplied to utilities across Canada and the U.S.
Well, obviously, right there, you've been mentioning steel, importing, exporting, all very hot topics right now when it comes to tariffs. And that is, of course, the reason why we're having you on here. So, again, Canadian company affected by tariffs. How would this affect both your manufacturing and distribution process?
So it's a big impact for us. About 70% of our products go to the USA. The rest mostly stays in Canada. And yeah, it has a big impact on our business. And I think, though, most companies are sticking with their current strategy, not really sure what's going to happen in the short and long term. And everybody's trying to wait to see what the long-term play here is before they make any significant decisions in terms of where to invest and how much to invest, et cetera. But yeah, for sure, it's going to have a big impact on our industry, and ultimately the cost of any tariffs in our industry are going to get passed on to utilities and ratepayers.
You know, I think we all know no one wants tariffs except one guy. And unfortunately, that one guy is in charge of the United States at this point. So let's go at it this way. You know, if these tariffs do come into effect, what is the fallout here for Shoji, and in particular, keeping it local because we're the local broadcaster for Burlington?
Well, I think there's two sorts of that, because we do buy a reasonable amount of raw materials from the U.S. as well. So there is a potential of incoming tariffs on our metal products from the U.S. That are under the steel import category. So we're working now to try to make sure that they're not on the list, so we don't have to pass on higher costs to our Canadian OEMs and ratepayers. But at the end of the day, if there are tariffs in place, at least in the short term and medium term, there's not a lot of changes that can happen because these supply chains are long. There's not a lot of, this is a niche industry that doesn't have a lot of players into it. So it really doesn't mean you can turn on a dime to try to avoid tariffs. They're just going to have to be paid and actually ultimately passed on to the utilities that are buying these. If it's longer term, then maybe there's different options, but most companies in industries that are interconnected between US, Canada, and Mexico are just waiting to see what's going to happen and where the dust's going to settle, and then they'll make some long-term decisions from then. But in the meantime, you just got to pay, the end user's just going to have to pay the tariffs however they get put into place and passed on to ultimately electrical purchasers.